Hi everyone, welcome to Informatica support videos. Today we are going to see policy-based access control feature which got introduced as part of November 2024 release. The agenda of the today's session is RBAC and PBAC, deprecated permissions on the RBAC, changes in the IICS rule, policies followed by the demo. RBAC and PBAC. Before November release, the user access is managed through RBAC, which is role-based access control, where one or more IICS role provide cumulative access to the application. After November release, user access is managed through PBAC, which is policy-based access control, which provide granular control over the CDGC asset based on the factors like life cycle, asset groups, etc. Example, in a org, we have both draft and published business term. Previously, there are no options to restrict access only on the published business term. With the PBAC feature, we can able to create a policy for a role to view only the published business terms. Coming to deprecated permissions in RBAC, under data governance and catalog service and metadata command center service, there will be a label added called do not use, which is moved to PBAC access control, and for remaining still dependency is existing on IICS role. Coming to the changes in the IICS role, we have introduced 4 new features under metadata command center, where manage access control provides access to create policies in metadata command center, and view access control provide access to view the existing policies in metadata command center. Manage access group provide access to create asset groups, and similarly view asset group will provide access to view the existing asset groups in metadata command center. Under services features, you could see manage access control and assert group, and view access control and view assert group. And coming to the changes in IICS role, super admin feature in CDGC is deprecated. To satisfy the super admin capabilities, 2 new features are introduced: manage tickets, which is used to cancel and resolve the manual and workflow tickets; force deletes, which is used for the hierarchy deletion. To view preview failed rows in data quality, preview data feature can. Coming to policies, administrator creates access policies in metadata command center that determine whether user can read, create, update, delete or manage access for the asset. There are 3 types of access policies: user role based policies, user group based policies, and stakeholder role based policies. When a policy is enabled for a role or a group, the permissions are provided based on the defined policy rules. Rules can be created using a rule builder. So this is a snapshot of the same. We can select or create the assert type, whatever we need, and the permissions that we want to assign to that particular role. Coming to user role policies, for a new user without any assigned policies, the default behavior will be to deny the access to all the assets in the org. User role policy is a starting point of defining access to the assets. When a policy is defined for a role, it becomes effective for all the users associated with the role. If a user is associated with multiple IICS roles, then the access is granted based on the union of all policies defined on the role. Let's see the demo on how to create a user role policy and user group policy in metadata command center. When you open any role and select the services, metadata command center, under assets, you could see a label called do not use. As discussed, these are things moving to PBAC, and the others are still in the IICS roles. And under features, you could see manage access control, manage assert groups, and as well as view access control and view assert groups. The user or the role who has permission on these 4 can able to see the access control tab in metadata command center. So here when you click on access control, you can able to see the existing policies, and there is a plus icon. If you click on it, you could able to see the types of policies, which is user role policy, user group policy, and stakeholder policy. Before creating a user role policy, let me show you a user for which there are no policies created for the role. Let us take this GCS stake as an example. This particular user is associated with one role, and for that role there are no policies created on the metadata command center. So when we log in, by default the user will not able to see any assets in that particular org. So now we will create a role policy for that particular role. So I will just give an example as stakeholder, and I will select that role for which I didn't created any user role policy. So I have created a user role, and there is an option to create. So these are the assert type and attribute types. So when I click on assert type, it will list what are the assert types we have. So all the business assets, business data element means manual data element, and it's not a manual data element. So what are the data elements that is tagged under the data set? That will come under business data element and data classification, marketplace assets, marketplace data assets, and technical assets. We can select all, or we can just select the required one. So let me give for all business assets, and okay, you can just give. So based on the life cycle and asset groups, we can still more give a granular level permission to the users. So I'm not selecting any life cycle. So let me give create, delete, manage, access, read, and update permission for that particular role. So once I click on save, you can able to see is all asset types. These are the permissions provided for this particular role. So once this is saved, we need to publish this particular user role policy, and I click on publish. There will be a job triggered for this user role policy. Once this job is completed, we could able to see the assets in the data governance and catalog. Once the published job completes, we need to go to the access control, and you can see our user role policy. Can just go there and enable it, so that the policies and the access that we have created will get implemented to the users associated to that particular role. Once the published job completes, these permissions will get propagated to all the users of that particular role. Let us check that user whether he has the access. So this GCS stake is the user which is associated with that particular role, which is clone GA stakeholder, for which we haven't created any user role policies, and now we have created a user role policy and it is also enabled. So when I just go ahead and refresh on this page, you could able to see that particular user can able to see the business assets that is available in this particular org. Once it is loaded, you could see all the business assets for the same GCS stake user. So if we take another example, so this is a particular user GCS stake. For this user, we have assigned a role called clone GA tech. This is a role assigned for this particular user. When you click on it, you could see what are the user role policy created for this particular role. Same way, you can select the policy type, lifecycle status, assert type. We have this filters available, and you can just click on this option to see the policy filters. So when I open this particular user role, so this is a user role, clone GA tech, and if I just go to the rules, you can see this particular user or the role can able to see all the technical assets, and they can see the permissions are manage, access, read, and update. When I go to data governance and catalog, for the same user, which is GCS tech, I can able to see all the technical assets but not the business assets. If you could see, both are same org. This is the same org where this particular user can able to see the technical asset in the same org, which is GCS preview. The other user can able to see only the business assets, not the technical assets. Not only this, we can able to still provide the permissions based on the life cycle, like a draft, published, and we have an type called assert group as well. And coming to assert group policies, so you can just go to the access control, and if you just click on the plus icon, you should see the user group as well. So if you click on it, we have a two option where either it should be on a single user group or it should be on all user. If you just click on single user group, you can able to see what are the user groups available, and if you click on it, and you can go ahead. And the role creation will be similar. You can just click on it and you can just select the attribute types, and under attribute type, whether it is a profiling, data, code, or unpublished changes. And if you want to just go to the assert types is also possible. We don't here there is no option to separate between business assets and technical assets. Here it will be for the all assert types and assert group. If you have any assert group, you can add permissions based on that. And coming again back to the user role policy, so I am just selecting any user role. So while creating, just exploring what are the options. So assert type, as discussed, you can select all the assert types that are available. And if you just click on attributes, we have four options, which is whether the profiling objects on data, whether we can able to see that data as part of coming as part of the profiling, and code. For example, for Snowflake and all, we have a tab called code where we will show the DDL and unpublished changes. So we can select at the attribute groups level as well, and if I just select on attribute level just code, so assert type if you want we can select it, and if code, if I want to just give the read permissions I can just give read, or else if I don't want it you can just ignore it so that the user may not able to see this. So this will be the options that is available while creating the rules for user role policy and user group policies. We would love to hear from you regarding the feedback of the session. Please reach out us on supportvideos@informatica.com, or you can tweet us at the below Twitter handle. Thank you.